Musk insults Trudeau as girl. Trump's vision as 51st state to America. Let us rise to protect Canada's sovereignty. Canada must rise above. This is how some powerful voices view Canada today, as a second-rate nation, ripe for the taking. Billionaire Elon Musk, a man whose empire spans across multiple industries, took to social media to mock Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, calling him girl. On top of this, former U.S. President Donald Trump recently hinted at a vision of Canada as the 51st state of the United States. Let's pause for a moment. What do these statements really say about the future of Canadian sovereignty? Canada, a country born of fierce determination and a rich history of independence, now finds itself at a crossroads. The remarks from Musk and Trump are more than just crude comments. They symbolize a deep-rooted challenge to Canada's role in the world. Our relationship with the United States has always been complex. On the one hand, we share the longest unprotected border in the world. We trade goods, services, and share vital security interests. But these ties are also strained by power dynamics that don't always work in favor of Canadians. From oil pipelines to retail chains, Canadian resources are increasingly owned by American corporations. The profits leave our country, while the environmental costs, oil spills, pollution, and health risks are borne by Canadian citizens. It's time to ask, is this truly a partnership, or have we become subservient to a larger neighbor? When Elon Musk called Prime Minister Trudeau girl, it was a mockery of the office and of Canadian leadership. Musk, a self-made billionaire, clearly didn't understand or didn't care that such a comment undermines not just Trudeau, but the very idea of Canadian sovereignty. And then there's Donald Trump, who suggested that Canada could one day be the 51st state. While this may sound like a joke to some, Trump's rhetoric reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of Canada's place in the world. His comments reflect a mindset that views Canada not as a full-fledged nation, but as an extension of the United States, a resource to be annexed. But Canada is not just a resource. We are a people, a country with a deep sense of identity and history. These remarks are not just an insult. They are an attack on the very essence of who we are as Canadians. Canada is a land of immense wealth. Our natural resources, oil, gas, minerals, and forests, are among the richest in the world. Yet much of this wealth is controlled by American interests. The Keystone XL pipeline, the purchase of Canadian farmland by U.S. corporations, and the lack of Canadian ownership in refineries are just a few examples of how Canada's assets are being funneled south. While Canadians bear the environmental and health costs of resource extraction, the profits often flow to U.S. corporations. We have yet to build the infrastructure that would allow Canada to process and refine its own resources on our soil. This lack of control has made Canada reliant on others for jobs, economic stability, and our national wealth. The question we must ask ourselves is, what kind of Canada do we want for the future? A country that remains dependent on foreign interests, or one that takes control of its destiny? Canada has the resources, the workforce, and the talent to become fully self-sufficient in many areas. Imagine refineries owned by Canadians, pipelines that deliver Canadian oil to Canadian markets, and a robust infrastructure that supports Canadian jobs. It's time for Canada to stand up and reclaim its resources, its infrastructure, and its future. It's time for Canadians to take control, not just of the land, but of the policies that will govern our nation. We can build more railways, more refineries, more industries, all owned by Canadians and serving Canadians. Canada is a nation of diversity, but our unity is what makes us strong. We've welcomed immigrants from every corner of the globe, giving them the freedom to build a better life. And now, it's time for us to take charge of our future. We must rise to protect our sovereignty, defend our resources, and make sure that Canada's future is determined by Canadians, not by foreign billionaires or American politicians. We have the power to create a Canada that is economically independent, socially just, and politically strong. Together, we can rise above these insults and demands and chart a new path, one where Canada stands tall as a proud, sovereign nation. Canada has always been a land of hope, a land of opportunity. It's time for us to rise and claim that future. No longer should we be passive bystanders. Our resources, our industries, and our sovereignty must be protected. Now is the time for Canada to stand tall, independent, and free. Join the conversation. Stand up for Canada. Together we can make our nation stronger and more united than ever before. Let's show the world what Canada stands for. Share your thoughts, speak out, and protect the sovereignty of Canada, now and for generations to come.